right. Hello, everyone. How's it going? Stan here. Time for another Random Encounters sketch challenge live. Live for y'all. Now, you all know what this is about. I'm coming on here every week, and we're doing a random encounter like you would in any role playing game. We don't know what's happening until the dice tell us what it is. I'm going to use some dice to pick a character or a creature and a situation, and then I'm going to draw it. And you're going to watch it happen right here live. Uh, and then when I finish that, I'll do another one. We'll be getting about 3 a week done. Maybe I'll speed up as time goes by. Who knows? But, the better chance of getting a fourth one in is if I start as quickly as possible. So let's get right to it. I have the chat open in front of me. Feel free to drop a line. Depending on what comes up, I may ask for your input too to help decide what it is I'm going to draw. So, having said all that, let's get right to it. It's going to open up this window, and you can see on my iPad, I do all my drawing on an iPad Pro using the Procreate app, none of which is sponsored. No one is paying me for any of this. This is just what I use, and people often ask me what it is I'm using. So now you know. So here we go. Let's start it off. We got our random encounters for this week. I'm going to use a D6 die rolling app, which I'll bring up in a second, to decide who. You see here we've got the who's, Umber Hulk, Wizard, Zombie, Adventurer. Adventurer is a wide open category, and if that comes up, then I'm going to leave it open for people to help me figure it out exactly, or give input anyway as to exactly how to interpret that. And the whats we have are Pro Wrestler, In Space, Food Fight, Singing Opera, Stand-Up Comic, and House Painter. Hey there, Dale. Thanks for joining in. Below all that, we've got the bonus board. If I roll the same number twice, I will use something from the bonus board, or maybe something I make up on my own, but I'll choose it rather than the dice. The dice will have given up their option for telling me what to do by repeating a number. Anyway, that's it. That's how it goes. So let's get going here and pull up dice. Now you also remember how this goes. We're going to use a die rolling app. We're going to roll it 3 times. Once, twice, third time is the charm. That's how we're going to do it. So here we go. What is my first drawing going to be? We're going to go once, twice, third time is the charm. Once again, number 4, I can tell you right away. I know what that is. That's going to be Adventurer. That comes up a lot. You know what? I put it in the 4 spot because it seems like a good middle number, but this is just 1d6. Each number is as likely as any, but 4 seems to be coming up a lot. So we're going to revisit this in a minute. Dale, you and anyone else who is watching will be able to help comment to figure out how we're going to interpret Adventurer. But let's go back and figure out what that adventure is going to be doing. Again, once, twice, third time is a charm, 5 is a number. So we're going to have an adventurer as a stand-up comic. Okay. Anyone in the audience have any particular kind of... See, adventurer, I picked that because it's a wide open category. It could be any of the character races or any uncommon character races, any of the classes. I'm doing this with a D&D leaning, but we can go beyond that. This is a open to interpretation. It's a lot about improvisation. So, what do you think? Any ideas? Bard is too easy. Bard. I think that's too on the nose. Maybe a cleric. Want a cleric of any particular races. I know that D&D is getting away from the use of the term race because it is so loaded. But do we just a human cleric, a dwarf cleric, half-elf cleric? I don't know. All right. I can get started here. You know what? I think I know what I'm gonna do. It's gonna be a. I I put in. Um, I put in a orc last time. I think we're just gonna call this guy a half orc. I mean a half orc cleric. And let's go here. Let's zoom out. Zoom in a little bit. This looks a little bit like the Broadway setup. And then we've got a stage, but of course, when you're doing stand-up comedy, you've got to have a brick wall behind you. So set that up. Maybe, I don't know, I'm starting to rethink gnome. Gnome, gnome maybe. Did gnome on the subway last time, but you know what? I think that I'm looking at this. What I was going with the half orc, and I don't think I'm not liking that so much. I'm going to come back in here. I'm going to get rid of that. Gnome. How if we go with a dwarf instead? Haven't done a dwarf yet. All right. I like it. I like it. I even have a gag running in my head. So let's come up here. Let's get going quickly here. Um, Man, I used to have so much D&D lore just stuck in my head, and I'm sitting here. What's what's the main dwarf god's name, or the one that's that we would always use whenever we had to pull a dwarf god out of our hats? Dale. It's a good dwarf god. You're an X Realms editor. And lots of dwarf gods in the realms. First thing that popped in my mind was Riorix, which is a Dragonlance. Moradin. Oh, yeah. Moradin. Okay. I'm going to draw here. Let's pull back a little so you can see a bit of what I'm doing. And give them kind of long sleeves. Now, giving him a kind of, and if it was a wizard, I suppose this would be a staff, but he's got his focus is going to be a staff also. And let's see. Let's see what we got going on here. I'm thinking that much though I've asked for it, I may not need the Moradin reference. Let's see now. We've got our dwarf here. Put some people in the crowd listening to him. Maybe not so amused. I don't think dwarfs are that funny. Okay. What else we got here on the side? Folks watching. I'm gonna now let's see, make the line a little thinner so I can come in very easily and do these. That's a little too thin. Set the brick wall, as we said earlier. If you're going to be doing stand-up comedy, you need to be standing in front of a brick wall. And I want to get this done quickly, so I'm not spending too much time worrying about brick walls, but there's something there like that. Ooh. And Let's see. Put that down. Yeah, it's looking pretty good. Okay. I'm going to take both of these layers, though. I'm going to move them a little so he's more towards the center. And I'm going to turn off my sketch layer. That looks pretty good. Let's put some color in there quickly. Which means changing the pen here. And we're going to have our dwarf. You know what? This is reminding me that I have a generic, bunch of generic characters I used for several drawings in the past. And every time I did the cleric, in these clerics were always in brown toned uh, clothes. I don't know why. It just always seemed right for clerics. They're not flashy, you know. You know what? I want that to be dark. Color there. Color the mic. Now, the color. Oops. Make that a little bigger because we're going to put some color on a brick wall. Like so. And a little color on the stage. And I think I'm going to put the whole crowd just kind of in this. In fact, the whole club is in shadows as he's up on stage. Kind of like the Broadway drawing. I think I want to have the effect of him having a spotlight on him. But then I'm going to do one more thing. I'm going to add another layer up here. Well, I don't know about layer, but we'll come back here to our ink line, and he is going to be saying, oh, plus just plain shifted in from the abyss And boy, are my arms tired. Let's go back to the colored layer and erase out the background there. I just plane shifted in from the abyss, and boy, are my arms tired. Ha! Dwarf comedy. I thought about having someone throwing a tomato at him, but that seemed a little bit much. But yeah, there we go. That's pretty good. I'll take that. All right, there's our first drawing of the night. Oh, I'm going to come in here and on. Oh, undo that. On this layer, we're going to drop that down to about 85%. Yeah. And it'll come back up to the lines layer. And put our signature on the lines layer. All right. There we have a dwarf stand-up comedian. What up, wop, what up, wop. Meep. Oh, you know what? Somewhere on this fancy rig I've got. Hold on, let's do this one more time. You ready? I just plane shifted in from the abyss, and boy, are my arms tired. Ha 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 ha! Drum roll. We're having fun now, huh? All right, there we have it. We have one drawing done. I'm now going to close out that, come back to our tables, and see what we've got for a second drawing. That's a pretty good start for an evening, I think. All right, let's see what we got. Come back over to the dice, and we're going to do once, twice, third time is a charm. The first choice is 2. 2 is a wizard. Ooh, a wizard. Ooh, a wizard. You know, it's weird. I put wizards separate from adventurers because there's so many other things you could do. Uh, I I think that most of the time when adventurer comes up, some kind of melee character, some kind of martial character will probably be the choice. Although I like uh, the choice of a cleric this time. But wizards on their own are just a separate thing. All right, so we're gonna have a wizard, but what's a wizard's gonna be doing? Let's find out here. So we go once again, once, twice, third time's a charm, and 5 is the answer this time. 5, 5. We have we had stand-up comic. That was 5 from last time. All right. So yeah. I guess that means we're on the bonus board, babies. We got a wizard. What should our wizard be doing? We have public speaking, camping out, and fashion model as the choices on the board, but I'm open to other suggestions. We've got a little bit of a crowd here. We've got 3 or 4 people in on various sites that I'm streaming to. Anyone have a suggestion for what the wizard could be doing in this drawing? A preference among those 3 options, or something completely different? I'm willing to. I'm willing to open it up to suggestions. Of course, the dice have given me the choice, so fashion model gets Dale's vote. Just gonna close my. Well, take a little drink to wet my whistle. You know, sketches when we get up here. Anyone else? Anyone else? No? Going once, going twice. Fashion model it is. Here we go. We got a wizard fashion model coming up. Now, I have to think about what a wizard fashion model drawing is going to look like. Interesting that we've got another thing which is basically staged. Stage with a crowd. Let's do that. Just kind of set up a runway there. Okay. Let's see. Right now, I'm figuring out. Now, that is just the wrong size, so I don't want to scale that down a little. The beauties of working digitally is I can do that pretty easily. Okay. Hmm. We'll do it that way. Change which arm is on the hip. Maybe both of them will be. Trying to figure out a good posture. Woof. Come on back here. Sometimes my iPad has a mind of its own. Okay. Okay. Let's go to Lines Layer and start laying down some lines. Now, our fashion model, of course, has got an attitude. And amazing hair. And big bushy eyebrows because, wizard. that the wizard is going to be wearing something cut very low. Very daring. There we go. Mm. And then the other leg is going to be out this way. Got spindly old man legs, of course. Not much of a body on our wizards. All that time, studying the arcane and uh, keeping up with fashion. Okay. Then from there, we can put down the runway a little cleaner. People are amazed. By what they see. Suppose if I had more time to do this, I might have some photographers here in the front row snapping pictures of what's clearly going to be on the cover of the Realms issue of Vogue next month. All right, I think that's basically it. And again, if we come in and add some color to that, we should have a very nice little draw. Woo! Got the mute on just in time for that sneeze. Okay. I think we're gonna give the um, wizard, oops, some pinkish hair. Maybe with blue highlights. Let's see, what kind of color? What's in this season? Of course, being a wizard also just wearing sweat socks. Didn't really think about the socks. And we're going to do the sides of the runway there. I think I'm going to add another layer behind and oops. That's not working out the way I want it to. What if I come here? Yeah. We're going to add some colors back here. Just to wow up this whole fashion show. Just a couple more splashes here, I think. race behind the model himself, so he's not drowned out by it, but the rest of it. Yeah, so we got a... Oh, look at that. Look at that. What a fashion icon. Yes. I like it. We'll come back to our line slayer and once again make sure that we take credit for what we have done, for good or ill. So here we go. We now have a wizard fashion model. Ooh. Do you have any good sound effects to go with that? That's no. Yay! And there was much rejoicing. Alright. There we go. Wizard fashion model. Drawing number 2. Done. I think we're having a good week so far. One more. Let's get one more. We got about 20 minutes left in the hour. Maybe we can slow down a little with this one, depending on what the dice wants us to do. Put a little extra detail in, or not. And I think these have turned out well so far. Let's come back. So here we are. We know we're not going to see a wizard. I might, if the adventure comes up again, I might redo that. But we're not going to see a wizard. We're not going to see stand-up comedy or fashion model. But we are going to see something. Let's find out what it is. Come back to our dice, and we're going to go once, twice, third time's a charm, and it's adventurer again. Wow. Wow, does this die roller like 4? Or, that's how you get randomness when you roll on a d6. You know what? I originally had thought about making this a d20, but there are so many when I've done stuff like this with d20, they leave so many options that don't get used that I felt bad. But with the number of times I'm getting rerolls here, I might have to think about increasing this from a D6 to a D10 in the future. If you have thoughts about that, put them in the comments or send them to me afterwards. I've got if you're not watching this on Facebook, there is a Facebook group for the Random Encounters Sketch Challenge. You can find that. Drop a note in there, or just send me one. Any ideas, any of your thoughts about how this show could be improved. So know already that number 4 is adventurers, and I probably stick with that. But let's see what kind of situation we've got here. So we're going to go once, twice, third time's a charm. Comes up 4 again. I'm getting a little suspicious of this die roller. What is 4 over there? 4 is singing opera. All right. I like that, so we're gonna stick with it. Let me just think for a second here. Some kind of adventurer singing opera. Okay. Wow, there's 3 things on. So we got the stand-up comedy, the runway model, and the singing opera all in the same night. I may have to put a little effort into. I don't know if the dice if dice are feeling very stagey tonight or what. I don't know what's going on. You never can tell. Dice are funny that way. Dice, electronic die rollers even more so. All right. Singing opera. I'm thinking. Again, anyone has any ideas, put them in the chat. Tell me something. Let me know what you're thinking. In the meanwhile, I'm going to ponder for a second. We've done a dwarf. Uh, did a gnome. Haven't really done an elf. Elf doesn't really seem that funny for opera. Seems a little on the nose or on the ears, if you will. Um, maybe I'll just get away from that and pick something else entirely. Uh, let's see. Some other D&D ish creature. I mean, a shrieker would be funny, but off the top of my head, I can't think of a quick, universally accepted cartoon for a shrieker. Um, you know what? I can't take too long to think about this. I'm just showing nothing on the screen. So, how about if we go with uh well, you know what? I don't really need to do it. Whatever it is, it's going to have about the same physicality. So, I can start doing that. Tell you what, I'm beginning to feel like a lizard folk in Odiug. Oh my god. Dale, those are some good flail snail. Those are just funny. I don't know if they'd make particularly good pictures of a flail snail or a flump. A flump singing, uh, doing opera would definitely be funny in if I was doing the audio for it. Hmm. I've just gone back and forth with three different ideas in the midst of a couple of seconds. None of them were looking like they were going to be particularly funny. All right, here we go. I think we're gonna go with like a were rat. Okay. Sometimes you just got to make a decision and go with it. So we're going to draw ourselves a we're ready. I wish, uh, as an artist, you get things that you know that you can draw at the drop of a hat. And I'll tell you the secret that getting ready for these shows, I look at what I've put um, on the random encounter chart, and I make sure that I know how to draw all of those things. Um, Having gotten here, I wish that I had put on the random encounter chart um, a knoll or some kind of hyena thing, because that would be a good choice. That would be funny, but off the top of my head, if I try to draw one, it will just wind up looking like a rat anyway. So I think that I may have to put that on the list for next time and make sure that I spend a little bit of time just refreshing my mind's eye on what a knoll looks like so that I could do one off the top of my head. This is looking pretty good. And again, I think I'm knowing that I'm where we are in the hour. I'm just taking a little extra time slowing down the process. And and wind up with a nice little were-rat-ish were-rat-ish creature. Turn off that sketch layer and add in a few extra lines to sell this, really make it feel, I don't know, ratty. Or opera-y. Go. Don't know if you can hear it, but out my window I'm now hearing the distinct crow of a caw of crows, meaning that it is getting towards sundown, and they're all heading to their roost just outside my window. All right. I think we're gonna go with that. We're gonna add some colors. You know what I didn't do on that other second one was drop the intensity of the colors. Go back and do that before I finish here. I like when I do grays to very often. I often like them to be bluish grays. I think that gets a good. Um, it, it gets a feeling of black. You know what? Here, I gotta. Thing about rats is that they've got almost human claws. So, well, I do want to make sure I get the fur right. I then want to come in for something more like a very pale pink. Not not human pink, not human Caucasian pink, but pink pink. Okay. And let's see. colors on the costuming, like so. And color on the spear here. Come over here and different color for the stage. Very, very dark, but not quite black. And I think, no. There we go. There we go. Well, Dale, thank you for giving me someone to share them with. Dale said, "Thank you for sharing my talents." Well, you know, I I'm enjoying this show. I'm enjoying it a lot. I'd say in I had lots of ideas for how it might go overall, and I think there's still lots of room to grow. I'll tell you what I would like to do is find a way to add another cartoonist in doing this with me. So we could both be drawing the same things and having different takes on it. I think that would be fun. Right now, that's a technical issue that I haven't overcome. So it's just going to be me for for a while yet, but I'm working on that. Yeah, but like I say, I would love to get feedback from anyone who's watching this now or on a replay as to things you would like to see me add on to the random encounter. What random encounters would you like to see up for possibility for drawing? When we have, I have been, whenever possible, throwing options out to the audience. Dale has been the lucky recipient of that because he's the only one that's wanted to speak up. And thank you very much for that, Dale. Um, at the point where we start getting a more regular, larger audience for this, uh, I would even consider getting rid of or minimizing the use of the random encounter tables and make this more akin to an improv show where I just kind of show up and you folks can tell me what it is you'd like me to draw, and I'll just do it from there. Um, so think about that. Those of you who are watching again now or on replay, if you want to send suggestions in, you can leave them in comments on this video wherever you're watching it, or you can send them in to the Facebook page. Let me just come back here, and I wanted to take the colors down. You know what? No. I was going to take the colors down on this, but the fashion icon just needs to be bold colors. Yeah. So, let's we're going to be back. I'm going to be back again next Thursday doing this. I will have a revised encounters chart. So between now and then, send me your input if you would like to have an effect on what goes on the encounter chart. And if you can make it live, it's going to be the same time, same places, 6 p.m. Pacific time on Thursday. And I'll be doing this for another hour. Today, we had 3 pieces come up. We had, as you saw earlier, the dwarf cleric doing stand-up comedy, and we had the wizard, uh, the wizard fashion model. This cracks me up just looking at it. And finally, we just finished with the were rat singing opera. All, I think, pretty successful drawings here. I'm going to drop the colors there a little further. There we go. And that's what we do. Those random drawings, random encounters that an hour ago, no one, including me, had any idea were going to be happening. So again, if you enjoyed this, please take the time. It really does help out. Take the time to click like or give a thumbs up, or on whichever platform you're watching, whatever the yay button is. Do that. Subscribe if you aren't already subscribed. I know that Dale certainly is. He and I go back a long ways, and do that. Tell your friends about it, whether they and see if they can join us here live, or if they just want to watch it on a replay. That'd be terrific. And we'll see. We'll see what happens next. Next week, I say, we'll have another set of random encounters. No one knows what I'll be drawing until the dice tell me what it is then. So, till then, have a very good week, everyone. Be well, take care of each other, and I will talk to you all real soon. Bye.